Well, good morning, everybody. It's wee Paddy from across the Shuck, and I hope you're all well today. And today I'm bringing you the review of my case knife. I received it a couple of weeks ago, so I showed you it then, and it's now time to give you my thoughts and opinions on this beautiful little pocket knife. So, without further ado, I shall give you a look. Look at the jig bone. This is dark red jig bone, and it's in the pocket worn selection that Case do. I love the pocket worn because it makes it look as if it's been in your pocket for years and it's rubbed, but you still get that beautiful. Look at that. It's like a ripe strawberry. It really is delicious. You nearly want to lick it. But that's maybe because I'm a knife nut. I just want to lick it. I just think it's gorgeous. It really does epitomise traditional pocket knives. Now, you've got brass pins in it. You've got the Case logo on the little shield there. It's the nickel silver bolsters. And you've got brass liners. Brass liners up to. Now, this is pretty well done for a Case, let me say. For a while there, the couple of Case knives that I had to send back and didn't even get new ones because they couldn't promise me that they wouldn't be like the first one. So that's a bit of a shame because Case really have an art of making beautiful knives. It's the fit and finish is the only thing that lets them down. Now, this is the sway back jack, and look, they're finger magnets. It doesn't bother me, but for reviews, I don't like it, so I'll try to wipe it with my hand. Now, sway back. You can see the sway back comes up, whereas your normal pocket knives usually come out and then down the ways. Or even just straight out. But this is the sway back. And it's meant, like most traditionals, are made for a particular reason. And that's what I love about traditional knives. This one is particularly good at whittling. Or this one is particularly good if you've got something you want to do where you're pulling towards yourself. Whatever you've got in your hand here, you're pulling towards you. This fits so beautifully along the line of your fingers, holds in lovely, and lets you pull towards yourself. You can use it like that, of course. You can, pull across your cuts. What I like to do with these is if you've got pull cuts, I mean, just look at that. I mean, it really is just such a lovely little knife to do little pull cuts. If you want to cut something out of a book for the kids or do whatever, this is just the perfect little knife for it. Now, let's get that junk out of the way. So, I mean, that's what the knife's used for. It was made for that purpose, to be comfortable in your hand when you're pulling this way. And it really is. But it's just as comfortable that way. Now, it's got a Wharncliffe, which is my favourite blade shape of all time. And it's just lovely. Look, the size. What size is it? Let's get her down here and get you a size. I'll do the blade length is about 6 centimetres, the cutting edge of about 5 centimetres. And the overall length is about 13 and a half centimetres. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 inches long with a cutting edge of about just over 2 inches on the cutting edge. So, what does it weigh? This weighs absolutely nothing. This would never stop you getting anything. Never stop you getting anything? I don't know where that came from. But there we go. In grams, it weighs 42 grams. And in ounces, 1.5. So, this is not a pocket chunker. This is just a very lightweight and easy to use knife. But, I mean, look at the fit and finish on this one, I'll have to say, is really good for a Case knife at the moment. Really good. The blade centering, which on a traditional knife, depending on what you're going to pay, but, that's not centered, but it's not rubbing, and I can accept that. These are handmade knives. The more expensive knives that you go up, yes, they tend to try and get them centered better. But I think that's something Case really need to work on, is their centering of the blades, because Of the ones I've got, I don't think I've ever had one that's been truly centered. So what's a comparison? Look, this year I've had a real go, as you know, with traditional knives. Here is another one in that same size variety, which is the Case Barlow. This has been brought out of the Case Vault this year. And again, these are just about the same length. There isn't that much difference in them. But just look at that. Give me a modern knife that gives you looks like that. Look at that blue. You can nearly dive into that like a swimming pool. It's a different jig pattern. And that's the joy of it. All the jig patterns are different. You really do get, I just get a buzz from them, I have to say. I love the fact that they're handmade. I love the fact that they're for different jobs. I mean, this is just an average utility knife that does a bit of everything. Do you know what I mean? But these two together, oh, they just are lovely. So another knife that's in my collection, that's in that size, is a Boker. And this is a Boker with a clip point. And this is 440C. This has CV steel and this has their True Sharp. So there's 3 different blade steels there. They're all about the same length. And this one's made of wood. This is Gorillion or something like that. But just look at that for a variety of blade shapes, styles. Isn't that just stunning? I love that. That really does please me. Did this work? On my Instagram, I showed me, I was carving a wee bit of wood. I love a wee bit of whittling. I'm no good at whittling as in to make any great shapes, but I love just getting a bit of wood and practicing, doing different cuts and just footering. I love footering. That's the exact word. These knives are for footering with. They're for doing the small jobs about the house. Look, I can cut up boxes with these, and I've done videos where I've cut them up, and they'll do the job perfectly well. Will they last? Will the blade last? It won't last that long, because the steel is not that hard. Now, the Boker is a different kettle of fish. That's 440C, which is really good for a pocket knife. But this is absolutely fine. It's a CV. It will tarnish and patina over the years, although Case's CV doesn't go as quick as, say, 1095 or that sort of steel you would get with a GEC. But it will eventually. It takes a screaming edge just with a strop. The only thing that I again, look at this, this is doing my head in a minute, is knives that don't bring the choil out. So this will smile after a while because it hasn't been brought out till about where my fingernail should be now. It has to come past that mark, and they tend to just not do it. So I'll just do that myself anyway. But as a knife, as a functioning knife, this is a great secondary knife. A 5th pocket knife, a secondary knife, whatever you want to use it for. But this will do most of the tasks that I need in a day. So I can leave my bigger knife to do the other tasks. And if I'm carrying 2 traditional knives, here's today's carry. I'm carrying my GEC today. So there's a GEC 78. That's a much bigger blade. This can do my whole day's tasks. This is a great, and this is their 1095 carbon steel. You can see the patina, and this is coming lovely. Again, they just take a screaming edge with a strop. You very rarely have to sharpen them if you strop them at the end of the night. So there we go. Look at that. If I was to bring that out in the canteen, would that scare anybody? And again, look at the different jigs on the bone. Traditional knives really do give you the option of getting beauty. It's nearly like an art form rather than I know the high-end knives are art form, but this is just your everyday knives, rough riders, whatever you want to use. They give you beautiful, different patterns to collect. I highly recommend, if you haven't got one, start with Rough Rider or Case or whatever. I mean, these are not cheap over here now. These are equivalent to about $80, $85 over in the States. They're about £70 here, so they're not cheap by any means. You can get cheaper ones, but I mean, if you want this swayback jack and this lovely bone, it's 70 quid. So These are not what I call cheap, and these are knives that I'll not over abuse because I love them just for their looks. I love sitting at night watching the TV, just stroking it. But it's just lovely. Now, the walk and talk in this, you have a half stop. And listen to that, isn't that just lovely? Half stop on the way back, beautiful. It's only about a 3 pull, going on traditional pocket knives, and that's all you want for a little pocket knife. You don't want something that's going to rip the nails off you. This is just, oh, it's smashing. Maybe you can tell by my voice I'm over the moon. Let's give you another. This is another knife that I have just sitting there. This is the 93mm Pioneer in Alox. So it gives you this is what I would call a secondary knife as well. I mean, I will have this in a slip with a torch usually, and then a bigger knife. So, but that gives you an idea of what it's like. Look at the blade, and it's just the depth of the blade. Everything about it is just a bit bigger, but it's not that much bigger. Not that much bigger. So, what else will I give you? Let's give you another wee comparison. Here we go. There's a great comparison. There's the Delica. So we're talking, when you put them together and you see the difference in the depth, the Delica is a bigger knife, but the cutting blade, the edge of the cutting blade, this can still do a lot of work. Don't put this down as a toy. It's not. It's a proper knife, let me tell you. So, I'm not going to do any more comparisons with normal knives, but I think you'll agree it's lovely looking. I highly recommend it. I got both these from a company over in the UK called Moonraker Knives, and I'll have to say I'm pleased with what they've given me. They're not perfect, but they're as good as I've ever got over here. So I thank Moonraker. They were very easy to deal with, and I would recommend getting a knife from them. You can also leave a wee note for them to check it, and I believe they have checked these. So, there you go. The Case Swayback Jack is a big hit. A big, big hit. I'm away for a wee cup of tea, because that one over there is Carl. Take care, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed this. Bye now. Bye.